Hello guys, today we're going to observe extremely dangerous gambit, which is Helloween Gambit. This gambit can literally humiliate your opponent because we're going to sacrifice not even a pawn, but a knight. This gambit is more dangerous than it could seem because it's not considered like you're going to trap your opponent in a couple of moves and some traps, but it gives you a long-term attacking game for the knight. The nice thing about this gambit is that you can start it from very popular 4 knights beginning, like e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, the most popular line, knight e5 move, with sacrificing the knight on the 4th move, making our opponent shocked. And before we start, just check this statistic. Can you see it? This move, knight e5, wins 54% games for white. It's more than in any other normal move. But of course, as every gambit, it's more applied for blitz games, not for serious classic ones. But in now times, we only play blitz games. So today, we'll make a fast review of a very main line, the most popular one of this gambit, and after that I will play the blitz game on not very high ratings and check how it works practically and if my opponent will follow this main popular line and how it will go. Knight e5, knight e5, d4 is the main moves. So the idea of sacrificing this knight on e5 square is to fast move central pawns. Here you should notice that knight g4 is a mistake, because after e5 this knight cannot defend this knight anymore and one of this knight is lost. That's why there are only 2 moves here, knight g6 or knight c6. And the most often move your opponent is going to play for sure is knight c6. After that, we continue moving our pawns in the center and we continue chasing this knight d5. And here, many of your opponents will play knight b8, I promise, because they like to start once again. And here, we continue with chasing another knight, e5. The only square left for this knight is knight g8, because all the squares are captured by this queen. And after we scared all knights back, we move d6. d6 is the main idea of the Helloween Gambit. You quickly move your central pawns till d6 square, because after cd ed, this square is the key point, because it stacks all black development. Black go queen b6 and we go with the second main idea after pushing d6 is moving knight this way to c7 point. We're threatening with the fork on c7 and the only defense here is king d8. And here we even not in a hurry to go knight c7 to take this rook, because then we will lose this key pawn. The other plan here is to develop the bishop with the tempo, because after queen goes somewhere, we can move queen to d2 to control all these black diagonals. The idea is, if black would start scare away this annoying knight, they would immediately lose, like queen a5 check, and after king e8 we just go into checkmate black, like knight c7, d8, knight e6 double check, and after knight e8 we just do this mate. So let's return to the position after sacrificing and d5, and we just watched that returning knights back to the initial position are 2 passes. Black would rather go knight e5. This move is better. But here we move another central pawn, f4, and chasing this knight again. Here black goes knight g6, like the only move, and we're chasing another knight, e5. We make this knight go back again, knight g8, and we push our d6 key pawn. So the idea is the same. After knight e5 or knight b8, no matter, we go d5, d6, cd, ed, and here we go again, knight b5, knight c7, the same main line, easy to remember. So the main response here for black is queen b6 again, and we go knight b5, defending this important pawn, and going to c7 with the check and the fork for the rook. King d8 is the only defense from this knight c7, and here we push our f-pawn with the tempo, knight e5, developing our bishop with the tempo again, and usually black would defend it with f6. And as in previous variation, we go queen d2, taking control over these diagonals, right? And after black wants to scare this knight away, again bishop a3 and queen a5 check and knight c7 check. This position is slightly better because black have this square to go, and they will not get this checkmate as in previous variation, but what they get is this centralized king, and we taking this rook, and our knight is saved because it can go away again. All black diagonals is under our control. Now let's go back to the beginning and let's remember what we just watched. We watched 4-knight defend and sacrifice the knight right on this move, and we played this Helloween Gambit with knight c6 line. The other K line is knight g6, which we didn't watch yet. And what I suggest now is try to play blitz games on not very high ratings and to check if this knight c6 is really the most often response from black, and check how it actually works in practice. Closer to 1400 rating, and the same is my account for this purpose. Knight c6, knight c3, and now if my opponent is playing knight f6, we're going to play Helloween Gambit. Knight e5. Is he shocked? No, seems he's not shocked because he responded very quickly. So here are two ways. Knight c6, yes, right. This is really the most often response. We prepared d5, knight e5, so we didn't waste time watching this very popular line. Now we're pushing this f4 central pawn as we prepared. Knight g6, and now we continue pushing our pawns, our central pawns, e5, chasing another knight, making him go back, and preparing our d6k move. Knight g8 like the only way to go, and we push our pawn to d6. And now we will trade in some pawns, cd, ed, and making a way for our knight through b5 to c7 with the fork to the king and the rook. Queen b6, yes, right, this very often move again. And we are going to push our knight to b5 to defend this d6 pawn because it's attacked with two pieces. And we are going our way, continue our way to c7. So now the only move we watched was the king d8, right? To avoid this fork for the king and the rook. But my opponent decided to make this check like a tempo, but it seems it's senseless because we just defend with the bishop, for example, and queen should go somewhere, and we are going to make our fork, right? So now queen should go away, and we just move our knight with the check to c7. So king d8 is the only move, and here I guess we just can take the rook right? Because we do it with the tempo, attacking the queen, and we can do it, right? And my opponent just blindering his queen immediately. Okay. So it was the rough mistake. But let's check how a game would have gone if my opponent wouldn't blinder this queen. So he should have gone queen d6 instead of bishop d6, right? And here what would we do? I guess we would go f5, not going like this bishop a5 check with the queens trading, but with the tempo for the knight. And after queen e5 check, threatening this pawn, we would go queen e2, offering the trade, but black would take this pawn, I guess. And after long castling, we have this rook opposite this centralized king, and then development bishop c3 and bishop e2, and I would go h3. The idea is to move this g4 pawn and to take this white diagonal with the bishop, to control it and to defend this. It would be something like rook e8, g4, we are attacking the queen, queen f4, we go away with the king, and after bishop d6 we would go maybe queen d3, attacking this better, black defending, and we are developing our bishop, controlling this diagonal. So this position is better for white, right? Because we have this attack, we have this diagonal, and we have this centralized poor king. So we watch this Helloween Gambit, only one line, and this line immediately met in the blitz game. So just check it, apply it, and play the blitz game Helloween Gambit.